Okay. Hey guys, so if you don't know me, my name is Miguel Martinez. My wife and I are the founders and directors of This Is Vida, and the directors, hosts, whatever you want to call it, of the Here I Am experience. The point of this podcast is for you to understand what happens behind the scenes on the field. And this specific one is super relevant, I think, for everyone that has gone or is about to go on a mission trip. I promise you, every question, everything that was said here, I've heard a million times in different ways. And it's not to say, well, it's always the same experience, but the feelings are very similar. So if you're struggling with a mission trip, if you're struggling with figuring out if you're called to go, or if you don't understand what the experience is about, I would highly suggest that you watch the entirety of this episode, because although it's about a year and a half old because life happens, and I'm sorry, uh, this is extremely relevant and is kind of timeless, in my opinion, regardless of if you're doing medical ministry, construction, you're bringing fuel efficient stoves, water filtration systems. The experience is the same as long as we are sharing the gospel. A lot of the fears, a lot of the concerns, and a lot of praise reports are also the same. So you're going to hear the before and the after of our friends here. And I'm super thankful for all of our friends from Lakeshore Church for that trip. It was our second to last trip in Guatemala before This Is Vida became a U.S.-based ministry, taking care of missionaries and training them so we can spread the gospel better. At that time, we were in Guatemala doing pastoral ministry in the village of Bola de Oro. So anyway, that's my long intro. It's been over 2 minutes, so enjoy. Bye. So with our friends Daryl and Wanda, they've been in ministry for way longer than we have been in ministry, I'm pretty sure, and they have great experiences. So we're gonna talk to them. How are you guys?
Good. Thanks for having us.
Yeah, for sure. Thank you guys for being here. Well, this is your place, actually.
Yeah.
So you're welcome that we're here.
Thank you for having us.
Thank you
I
for-
think what he means to say.
No, I said what I said. Yeah, how are you guys today?
Good.
Yeah.
Wanda's recovering from surgery, and
Yeah.
she's doing well.
Yeah, that knee is getting better.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Praise.
Yeah, so you guys have been in ministry for how long now?
Well, here in Guatemala, it'll be 14 years in a couple months.
Wow.
Yeah.
Before that, we were 20 years in ministry stateside, first as a youth pastor, then as a church planter, head pastor.
It's awesome.
That's
Yeah.
so cool.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Yeah. And what was it like being a pastor back then?
It's good. It's different kind of hard. I loved youth ministry years, and I assumed I would die doing youth ministry.
Yeah.
But then God called us to church planting, and I thought, oh no, I'm going to have to work with adults. But that was good. We had some incredible experiences. We planted a very different style church that was targeted to those way outside of the church instead of swapping with other churches. And it was a great experience, but it was like different kind of hard.
Yeah,
Yeah.
for sure.
So, but then when we started international adoptions, we adopted a little girl with cerebral palsy from Korea.
Yeah.
And that's when our focus began to shift away from U.S. ministry to trying to care for international orphans. I don't like that word, but international children without families, particularly those with special needs. And that's what led us here.
That's
Yeah.
awesome. So I skipped the main question. So just for them to know, because I know what you guys do, but what do you guys do? What's the name of your ministry?
We run Hope for Home Ministries stateside, which it started as an advocacy ministry for international orphans with special needs. But then it expanded when we moved here. So we moved here to Guatemala, and we have 5 group homes, 4 for children and 1 for adults, all with special needs. And then we do a rural village ministry here that works in 16 departments of Guatemala and over 200 families each month. And so they have kids with special needs, and we provide sponsored items like food, formula, equipment, wheelchairs, medicine, etc. And then we're just trying to address the systemic issues here in Guatemala that cause special needs, like malnutrition, lack of birthing services and prenatal care, and education, particularly in regards to fever control when kids are sick. And so that's what's happening here. And in Liberia, we have started a village for children with special needs, and they actually just partnered with Live 2540 to open a hospital there for children.
Wow.
And so God is blessing. Now we're getting ready to hand some of those ministries off to another ministry in Liberia. But yeah, so that's it. And so in U.S., we're Hope for Home. In Liberia, we're Hope for Home Liberia. And here we are Asociación Ministerio de Esperanza.
That's awesome.
That's so cool.
And you guys have been doing that for 14 years.
14 years. Yeah, it'll be 14 years in January 25th.
Yeah.
Wow.
14 years.
So being a pastor in the States and being a youth pastor is way different than being a missionary. And I think most people think that if you do ministry in one part, you can do ministry anywhere. And I don't think that's the case at all. We know this, but I think most people wrongly assume that. I always say and I say this with a lot of respect, that we understand what a pastor does in the States, but a pastor in the States does not understand what we do.
Yeah.
It's a very different field. So what makes you guys say, you know what, we should leave our job, we know how to do this, to do something that we have no idea how to do?
When I was growing up, I didn't have a great relationship with my dad. He was a hard man, but one of the things he was a volunteer firefighter. And he always communicated to me, Daryl, you never assume that somebody else is going to do something. Step up and do it. If somebody more qualified comes along, you can always step back and let them take over. But always assume that you're the only one who can help. And so that was, he related that to, a medical crisis or an accident. But when I became a Christ follower, I started to apply that to every area. That when God puts a need in front of me, I shouldn't say somebody should do something. I should say, I need to do something. And so when we started to become aware of how severe the need and crisis was for international children with special needs, I think both of us just were broken by it and thought we had to do something. And actually, it started with us just leading trips to Guatemala, and it was actually the second team trip we led here. We were walking through Antigua after a long day of ministry working in Hermano Pedro, Obras Sociales. And we were just a few minutes into the walk, and I said to Wanda, we have to move here, don't you? And she said, yeah. And that was our entire conversation. And we went home, put our house on the market, informed our kids, and started selling 95%, 98% of everything we owned to move here.
Yeah.
So I don't know if that answers your question, but
very much so. Yeah. So how's that first year? Like, you moved, you left some kids behind, some kids are with you. I mean, you didn't leave them behind; they chose to stay. You left them there on the side of the road. No, but so that now, for one, your family's all split up in different places, and I'm sure is very, very hard. But how's that first year? Like, becoming and being very ignorant about a lot of things.
It was very adventurous. Daryl was amazing at figuring things out and just kind of tracking down whatever information he needed. I knew no Spanish at all, and he didn't know much. And we moved here, we didn't know any people, any people here. But somehow God just gave him what he needed to be able to find the answers and get things done. So there were definitely some hard things, but a lot of really fun things. It was really fun doing ministry all together as a family. So we had 10 children, 5 adopted, 5 biological, and 1 stayed behind in the States. She was 19 and she chose not to come with us. The other 9 came with us. And so that was hard leaving her. And she was going through a tough time in her life too. So that made it extra hard. But the rest came. And
one of the hardest things our first year was not knowing the rhythm of Guatemala. And so like now we know, we've been here for 14 years. Like, we know, okay, 1 month before Easter, every Friday night, our streets are closed for processions.
Right.
We know that the Tuesday before San Antonio is, or I got to get it straight. Our town, our village is shut down for procession. On Thursday, another area of the community is shut down. The first year we got
So we
trapped.
can't leave.
Right.
Yeah, we can't.
Tuesday or Thursday.
Yeah,
can't leave
the
or
first
we
year we
won't.
got trapped. We went out for a lunch date in Antigua and
no.
tried to come back in, and we're like, we can't get in. The streets are closed. When are the streets going to open? I don't know, 9, 10 o'clock tonight. I'm like,
Fantastic.
and so those it was just it's a different mindset here, different expectations. In the U.S., we have this illusion that we're in control because whether you can't block the roads, you can't. Whatever.
Right.
Here, it's like there's no illusion of control. It's
fair game.
And once you surrender to that and go, yeah. But yeah, that was one of the challenges of our first year because we just didn't know what to expect. And I remember we were lying in bed on Mother's Day, and like 12:30 in the morning, we hear the band come playing down the road, and we wake up to that. We're like, are they really playing music at 12:30 in the morning? And then it comes marching past, and we're like, okay, well now they should be done because they go down to the dead end and turn around, and then. Like another 45 minutes later, here they come again, and we just burst out laughing, lying in bed. It was just how it is.
No,
It's,
and you sleep the night before Mother's Day.
this is a different world
Yes.
than the U.S. and different expectations, and what would be considered extremely rude in the U.S. is just a part of life here.
Yeah.
And so once you surrender to that, it gets a lot easier.
It's funny. I had the same culture shock reverse. My first few times in the States, where I was like, it's too quiet.
Yeah.
Because
it's so true.
the first time I think it was when we went to Texas and we were staying with our friends, and they live like out in the boonies. At that time, actually, you couldn't hear a dog. Every like maybe 20 minutes, you will hear a truck very far away. And I couldn't sleep. That's the thing.
It's
I
so
need
hard.
noise. I need a dog barking. I need fireworks. Something. Yeah.
Actually, we were recently in the States, and it's the same thing. It's like there's no bombas, there's no roosters.
We should clarify. Bombas are not bombs. They're firecrackers. Fireworks.
They're these big, loud things that can set off your car alarm. So.
Yes, exactly.
It's so true. Like, I love when we stay with families that have kids because they're always like, I'm so sorry, kids make so much noise. We're like, no, it makes us sleep so well. Like, we sleep right through all of
It's like a white noise machine.
It really is. You're like, oh,
We tell
it's
them
not
if you
silent.
spank them, they'll be better from sleep.
We're like, dogs are barking in their house, kids are running around. We're like, yes, this is great. I'm going to take a great nap. Thank
I'm
you.
home. Yeah.
Okay, so that's the first year. So let's see. What was the other question? I lost my train of thought. So where are you guys from? Or you guys probably already said it, but originally exactly in the States, where are you guys moving from?
I was born and raised in Pennsylvania.
Okay.
I was born and raised in North Carolina.
Okay.
We met at Messiah College. We served in ministry primarily in Ohio for around 20 years. And then we moved from there.
That's awesome.
I feel like I'm sorry.
Oh, go ahead. I was going to say, what first brought you to Guatemala? Like, you guys said you did short-term trips here. How did you guys get connected?
Our very first time we were here was because we came here to adopt our son, Jonathan. He was three when we adopted him.
Yeah.
So that's what brought us here the first time. And God just...
Yeah, and during that trip, our friend took us to Hermano Pedro Obersociales. And in those days, I mean, things have improved significantly in there. But in those days, it was kids lying in urine and feces and catatonic from a lack of stimulation.
It's an institution for children.
For children and adults, from small children all the way up to senior citizens. And that we were so broken by that. I remember we visited our first trip here. We had to come twice to adopt Jonathan. And our first trip here, our friend took us there. We spent, I don't know, maybe an hour in there and holding kids. And when we left, we just stood outside the gate and held each other and wept because we were so broken by what we saw there. And then when we came back to complete the adoption, we went back again and the same thing. We were devastated. And I said, we've got to start leading trips here to spend time with those kids and get them out, because we would come here, we would spend time holding the kids and playing with them, but then we would take them out to eat or to the park and get ice cream and to give them experience outside of the institution. And so that was how we originally got connected, and our hearts were broken. And there's a whole lot more to that story I could tell you, but we don't have 3 hours. So.
I mean, there's plenty of tape. But I think that's a great story for having a great testimony for people to understand, because I've been saying, and this is my personal hot take, that being a missionary has sadly become kind of like being a summer camp counselor. It's like, I have nothing else to do. I mean, we don't have kids. We should be missionaries, and that's not a thing.
Yeah.
And people keep waiting for their moment where an angel is going to show up and tell them. That's never going to happen. It's usually a very heartbreaking experience, that's followed by peace.
Yeah.
It's not just the sadness. It's also this overwhelming peace that the Lord is giving you to do something.
Yeah, it literally, we reached the point where we felt like if we didn't do it, we were going to die. That it was like it was something that was inside of us that had to be birthed, or we were going to burst.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So literally, I remember, excuse me, we were leading trips down here, and I remember every time I came here, it's like, I'm home, but part of my heart was in the States because my kids, or maybe sometimes my wife, couldn't come with us. And so I felt I was always divided. And when we finally stepped off the plane with our family, it was like, my heart's all in one place.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
so that was just a tremendous sense of peace that first day. Chaos, because we had luggage to get to the house. We had a bunch of kids, and we had to do some shopping before we even got to the house. And we were exhausted because we'd been awake for 36 hours or whatever it was. But at the same time, I just remember this overwhelming feeling of peace and joy because I was finally where all of us were where God wanted us to be.
Yeah. What was that process like of like you sharing with your kids, hey, mom and dad have this heart to move to Guatemala. Are you on board? Was it like excitement? Was it like hesitation? Like, mom and dad, you're ruining my life?
It was interesting. Our kids, when we moved, their age range was, the youngest was 6 and the oldest was 20. So it was like a year and a half before that, I guess, when we first told them. So we gathered everyone around and kind of shared what we were going to do. Well, Brittany and Krishana, two of the oldest 3, were both in college at that time, special education majors, and they were both already planning to move to Guatemala. So that was, they had already had that call, and that was in their plan for when they finished college. So they were both just excited, except they're going, oh, great, now you're going to get there before us, which they ended up transferring schools so that they could come and finish here online. They both went back to do student teaching, but and then all the rest of the kids, well, there are one daughter that stayed. She wasn't excited, and that's why she stayed. But then the only one that struggled was Jonathan, who was our Guatemalan son.
You got me out of there.
He's
Now
like, I
you're
just
taking
made
me
it out.
back.
He was 6 years old at the time. So we adopted him when he was 3, and then when he was 6, we said we're going. And he didn't want to.
It was funny because when he was little, he didn't want to do anything that all Guatemalan kids want to do.
Yeah.
Like
like-
to play soccer, he was just like,
I don't like soccer.
I don't like soccer.
I don't like to walk.
I don't like to walk. And I'm like, okay,
You're like, everybody does that.
all Guatemalans walk, all Guatemalans play soccer. And he's like, I don't want to. He didn't want to learn Spanish.
He's wanted to go to
Interesting.
Starbucks.
He was probably the slowest at relearning Spanish
Yeah, he
because
was.
he didn't want
He didn't want to.
Yeah.
But now he's great. I mean, his Spanish is great, and he plays soccer, and
He's like
he
in
walks
ministry now and stuff too, right?
well, he's still trying to figure out. He just graduated from high school last year, and he's actually, I think, in the process. He's going to move back to the States.
Wow.
Okay.
Okay.
And he wants to do like some higher education there.
Awesome.
But but it's not. He struggled with whether he should stay or whether he should go. It's not. It's not that he disliked Guatemala anymore. He
not at all.
just he thinks that maybe God has something for him in the States.
Yeah,
for sure.
absolutely. That's awesome, though. That's so cool that, like, for the most part, like, your whole family was on board. What was that like for, like, your extended family members? Like, cousins, aunts, uncles, all that? Were they like, y'all are crazy? Or were they excited for you guys?
I think there was some of each.
Yeah.
My parents were unsure if we really knew what we were doing.
Yeah.
They thought their son-in-law was dragging their grandkids and daughter into a.
But they didn't get upset or anything.
Yeah.
Like they just
Yeah.
They weren't
you were
upset. It's
kinda
just.
like, are you sure?
Yeah.
But they
Yeah.
came
It was
on
interesting
board very quickly.
when I told my brother that we were moving here. He went, "I knew you were going to do that," because he said every time I saw photos or video of you guys in Guatemala, you just seemed so happy and alive, and so
Yeah.
I was thinking that was going to happen.
Yeah.
There were there were some family members who's like, yeah, you're going to move to Guatemala. Sure. They didn't really believe in fact, one family member, the day we were pulling out with everything loaded on the back of a trailer, that they were like, it's not really going.
You're like, yes, we're on the way to the airport now.
So, but what I will say is now everybody is on board. Like even her parents, they came to visit us like 2 months after we moved. And it was at the end of that trip, her dad said, I really had some doubts, but there's no doubt God's in this, and I can't believe how well you guys have adjusted. He was really impressed with our driving. Wow, I can't believe you guys drive through
your
these
dodging
places.
skills.
Yeah.
Seriously.
But also how well I knew my way around already. And by the end of that trip, they were just like, how can we support you guys? How can we help you?
That's awesome.
And don't, like I say, they weren't anti before. It's just they were skeptical.
For sure.
But God answered that skeptical nature very quickly, and they've been nothing but supportive. In fact, they're some of our
Most of our siblings
biggest
have been down
encouragers.
there to visit.
Yeah.
Wow, that's awesome.
Almost all of them. I think there's just one who's not.
I feel like there's another question that I have, because you guys are similar to us in the sense that you guys do ministry together as spouses.
Yeah.
Where I feel like sadly too many missionaries are single. They go into their 40s, 50s, and they stay single.
Yeah.
Because it's really hard to find someone while you're already there in ministry, someone that relates to you or has your life experience. And so, what is it like for you guys to work together?
I'm sure it's harder for her than for me, so I'll let her reply.
So just like us, it's harder for you.
We love working together.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm not going to say there's never a hard day or whatever, but for the most part, we were very passionate on what our call was from the very beginning, and we're best friends. So, what else to do it with?
Yeah, I think it was interesting because we talked about this before, that when we were stateside, I was in youth ministry. Wanda was never a teen person. That was not her thing. And so
I like our kids.
Yeah,
exactly.
Yeah,
I'm the same way.
She was supportive. She was encouraging. She did everything she could to help. But it was always like me doing youth ministry and her trying to support me while I did it. And then when I became a head pastor, it got better in that she was doing more women's ministry. So we were working more together, but not it was like she has her areas in mind. When we moved to Guatemala and we started this ministry, that was when I felt like her giftedness and my giftedness came together. I mean, we both have our own areas of responsibility, and she does what she does really, really well. She's blown me away, but this is the first time where I feel like, now I understand why I have my personality and you have yours, and I have my skills and you have yours, and because we fill each other's weaknesses. So it's awesome that the ironic thing is, like, a lot of our friends now they're experiencing empty nest, and we are some of the people who enjoy time together more than any other couple I know. I mean, we're best friends. If anytime we could squeak out time together, we want to have it.
Yeah,
we're never going to have an empty nest,
right?
Our house is full of 15 kids with special needs, and which we love them all. That's not it's not saying we don't want the kids, but it's just the reality of it that we would enjoy being empty nesters, but we're never going to be empty nesters.
Yeah, for sure.
I love that.
And that brings another great question. It's my personal opinion that y'all's kind of ministry is the hardest one to do, because you live at your place of ministry, you live with the people you serve. In y'all's case, you have to be on call 24/7, or have people that are on call 24/7, because there's all kinds of medical emergencies. You live around like this hard things. It's not to say that other ministries are not hard, but you guys are on it 24/7. For lack of a better way to ask this, how do you guys keep yourself sane?
We're not.
I knew it.
You have to be insane to do this kind of thing.
That is also true.
Yeah, that's very true.
We
set aside date time every week to get away.
Yeah. We actually have another little house up in Santa Catarina, which is still in the valley here. So it's 1.6 miles away.
Okay.
I walk it most weeks, but and that we will go up there for one night a week. We've actually, as she's been recovering from knee surgery, been staying up there more because there's not a hot tub, but just a bathtub there that she can soak in. And it's all on one level. So, but yeah, we carve time together. For me now, working out and exercising is a stress relief. It's more emotional and spiritual that we have to fight.
Yeah.
Because the hardest part is not just the being on call, but we experience a lot of loss. We've had a lot of deaths.
Yeah, for sure.
We've had 3 deaths. Well, since December, we've had 3 deaths in our home and in the adult home. And those have been pretty devastating, hard deaths.
We've lost a total of 10 children over
just from our home.
our home over the
That doesn't include
12 years.
home 2.
Wow.
That doesn't include home 3. That we've had a lot of kids who've passed. And so just the grief of that, and also I guess I would say stress. Because like when we were living in the States, it's like, well, yeah, kids die, but it's really, really rare.
Right.
Now, it's hard for me to walk past a sleeping child without stopping and checking to see if they're breathing because we've experienced it so many times.
Yeah.
I've done CPR more times than I can remember since we moved to Guatemala, and with the majority of those ending in death, not in life.
Yeah.
And so, sorry, that sounds whiny. I'm not trying to be whiny.
No, for
No,
sure.
it's true.
It's
It's
real.
So part of it is just we have to keep reminding ourselves why we would do what we do,
Yeah.
who we do it for.
Yeah.
Because we certainly don't do it for the government of Guatemala. We do it for Jesus and for the kids that we love.
Yeah.
And we have to stay spiritually strong because unless we're hearing from God and hearing his voice and feeling his hands and arms around us,
For sure.
we're not going to make it.
Yeah.
There's been a few times where God visited in a very special way when I was ready to walk away because I didn't feel like we could take it anymore, that I could take it or my family. And God spoke in a very clear and dramatic way to keep me going.
Yeah.
So, I think that's the really hard part of this ministry. And that's what we have to guard ourselves against because it's easy to surrender to discouragement, despair, grief.
Yeah.
But at the same time, we've also learned that we have to grieve. That I've always heard that before, but I went through a period where I wasn't grieving effectively and it nearly killed me.
That is important.
Yeah.
What made you guys say yes in the first place to special needs ministry? Like, I can imagine that you guys understood, at least partially, this is going to be hard. There are going to be deaths involved. Like, it's not always going to be sunshine and roses in here. Like, that's a hard thing to give a yes to when you understand that part. So what was that like for you guys?
Answer?
I guess when we visited Hermano Pedro over Socialis and saw these kids, like dozens of kids in one room, it just broke our hearts to see them in institutions. Like, there's no way. I mean, no kids should have to grow up in an institution. No.
Yeah.
But when they have special needs, it's so much harder, or in different ways, I guess, a different hard. But because in an institution, you can't meet the individual needs very well. You kind of have to do this mass thing of how can we meet the needs of most of them. And God just really laid it on our heart to say they need smaller homes, more individualized care.
Yeah.
And to be honest, he did, but I didn't think about in the beginning about us losing children. I was just thinking, kids that can't walk and we have to feed them and whatever. And I remember the day that he said to me, right, that we're probably going to lose some children because we're taking in children with very severe needs. And I was like, what?
Yeah.
That part. I mean, I still would have said yes, but that I didn't think through that part ahead of time. I was just thinking about how we're going to have to carry them and in and out of wheelchairs and changing diapers and feeding them. But they're just so special. After we adopted Joshua from China and Kimmy from Korea, who both had some physical disabilities, cerebral palsy, and spina bifida. That was while we still lived in the States, and God really used that to help us. Kids with special needs just weren't statistics out there. They were
Real
they were
faces.
real
Yeah,
faces,
correct.
real
Yeah.
kids that
Yeah.
we love and who need so much. And
Yeah, the other thing I would say when you talk about saying yes to this, there's a kind of this myth that has been embraced by Christian culture that says, that causes people to look for the big yes of their life. That like you have kids, like when I was a youth pastor and as a pastor, you get people coming to you and saying, how do I know what God's will is for my life? And my response was always, the God's will for your life is for you to know and love him.
Yeah.
And as you know and love him, one step at a time, he'll show you what his will for your life is.
Yeah.
And so one of the things I tell people, we did not say a big yes to Guatemala. We said 1,000 little yeses.
Yeah.
That's a good way to put it.
That back when we were a young married couple, actually before we ever got married, we talked about the one day maybe wanting to adopt internationally. We had no idea that that meant kids with special needs, but that was something that God had put into her heart, particularly early on. But then we started having kids and we loved being parents. And then we started thinking, wow, there's a lot of kids out there who don't have parents. So we looked into becoming a foster parent family, and we became a foster family, and we had 23 foster kids, and we adopted 2 of those foster kids. And that it's just everywhere along the way, one step at a time, God would say to us, well, what about this? Are you going to say yes to this? And well, yeah, sure, we can do that. And so it was a big deal when we moved here, but I don't think it didn't feel like such a big deal because we
felt
had,
like a lot of work, but as far as the yes of following God, it was just He's
one
proved
more
himself
little
faithful through all
Yeah.
these other times. So
yeah. And so but there were moments of crucial moments of us being stretched. Like I remember when we decided we were going to adopt Joshua from China, and as we were reading about his needs, we were like, wow, these are significant. These are more than Kimmy, different. And I remember the one night being overwhelmed about it, and we hadn't made the decision yet to do the adoption. We were, and actually at that point, just as a clarification, I served as a church planter, pastor for years. Then we ended up leaving because the pastorate, because our hearts were broken for the plight of international orphans, particularly those with special needs. And so we joined another organization that was an advocacy group for kids waiting children internationally. And we traveled and spoke in churches on the eastern portion of the United States to share basically waiting children and challenge the church to adopt. And in the midst of that, we were getting exposed to tons of kids who needed a family. And we found Joshua. We had actually, long story, but he had brought him to our attention especially. And we found out that he was only 1 week away from being declared unadoptable, which meant that his paperwork would be sent back to China. He would spend the rest of his life in an institution.
Wow.
But I was overwhelmed by the needs as it was listed out on paper.
4 years old.
He was only 4 years.
Goodness.
And I remember the one night I just couldn't sleep, and I was struggling with this decision. And I remember I went out there and I said, God, his needs are so great, and there's so many kids that need a family. How do I know this child? And he's the one for us. And I remember all of a sudden, as I was on my knees praying on our living room sofa, suddenly I was in a boat, a lifeboat, and all around me there were people drowning and they were waving their arms saying, please help, and they were going under. And I remember God spoke to me clear as day. He said, Daryl, in this situation, do you ask, Lord, which ones do I save? And I said, no, I grab whoever's closest to the boat. And he said, I brought Joshua aside your boat.
Wow.
And so I remember going back and telling Wanda, yeah, we need to proceed. And I think she was ready to proceed before I was. It was just me who was wrestling with it. But that was another big little yes. It was just another yes along the journey. So anyway, I'm sorry, that was probably more than what
it's
you wanted.
great.
That's great,
No,
'cause
that's awesome.
two takeaways that I'm taking from what you both are sharing is every single one of the stories that you're sharing. For one, you went to the Lord and you decided together.
Yeah.
It was not you telling one that we're going to do this, you should follow. Because we always say and this is great for couples that are considering doing ministry, the people that suffer the most in ministry, and you guys have seen it, is couples. Because sadly, too many times, it's one of them is really passionate, and the other one said, why not? And about a year in, even 6 months in, it's like, you guys shouldn't have come.
Yeah.
So it's encouraging to me, not only for us, but also to see other couples and to remind them of this. Go to God and do it as a unit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There have been times where Wanda felt God's call before I did, but she never was prodding me, pushing me. She would just say, she stepped back and said, Lord, if this is really from you, then show Daryl that. And he would. And this, at times, it's been the opposite.
Yeah.
Where I felt something early on and she didn't. And, oh, Lord, I know that you want us in unity on this. So, and God has always brought us together. And
I love that. I love that too, because like Miguel always talks about, like, God won't bring chaos into our marriage. Like, he wants us to walk in unity. And so he's not just going to say, hey, Miguel, you're supposed to go do this thing. And it's like, well, now I have to drag my wife along. Like, no, like he, in his perfect timing, is going to share with both of us, and that there will be unity in those decisions. And so I love that, like, in every little yes that you guys gave to the Lord, like, it was all within a place of unity. Like, that's so special and so sweet and such a beautiful example to those that maybe are looking to go onto the field in ministry. Like, what does that look like to walk in unity in your marriage as you're saying yes to the Lord every step of the way?
I can think of 3 times in my life. I mean, I've messed up plenty of times, but when my decision making, where I feel like I made a mistake as a father or as as a Christ follower making decisions, in almost every one of those cases, I look back and go, Wanda didn't have a peace about it, but I just said, no, I think I'm going to do this, and I did it anyway. And then we look back on it and went, why didn't I listen to her? And I think that's the beauty of it. That God, we're very different. I mean, it's kind of funny that when we first met, I was here and she was here, but I knew God wanted us together. And eventually she figured that out.
Love it.
But then God has we brought us together. We've actually crossed a little bit in some areas, but we balance.
Yeah.
And I've learned that God's wisdom is found in both of us. And that we better work together, and we better talk, and we better come to unity on a decision. And because when we do, God's always in it.
Yeah, I love that.
That's awesome.
I think a question I would ask you guys, because you have so much experience in ministry, is what would be an advice that you would give to somebody that's saying, I want to go into full-time ministry overseas? We didn't prepare you guys for this one,
like
but
another Daryl and Wanda that are now in their 20s and about to move their family.
yeah, like what advice would you give to them?
One of the things I would say is get rid of the idea that this life is glamorous. Because, there's a certain amount of intrigue and mystery, and we're going to be adventurous in doing this, and we're doing things that other people won't do. Very quickly, the sense of adventure comes down to the mundane. It's once you adjust, ministry on the mission field is not a lot different than what ministry should be in the States. So one of the things I tell people all the time is, look, if you're not making disciples, if you're not serving there in the States, you're not going to do it on the mission field.
Yeah, that's a good word.
And so basically, don't come here and try to do it until you're doing it effectively in your own culture. And once you're doing it effectively in your own culture, then you can translate that to a different culture if God is in it, if God's calling you. But I think that's one of the big struggles is a lot of people have this romantic idea of what it's like to be on the mission field, and they come here and it's not romantic. It's just hard. You got to deal with the immigration office, which is, that's a ton of fun. you got to deal with government bureaucracies all over the place, and SAT and traffic and protests and blocked streets and processions and don't get me wrong, as I say this, I love Guatemala. I never
Absolutely.
want to move back to the States. This is our home now. So I'm not bashing the culture. I'm just saying it's not romantic.
Correct.
It's hard.
Yep.
And it's just life now. I mean, after 14 years, it's hard for us to go back.
Yeah.
And so that's the big thing is get rid of that romantic idea of what it's like to be a missionary because it's not.
Yeah.
It's challenging. It's hard. It's wonderful. It's a nightmare.
It's everything.
And the only thing that matters is God in this. But again, if you're not doing ministry where you're at, don't go to another culture and try to do it because you will fail.
Yeah.
Then when he said it matters if God's in it, that's something that we tell people too that are considering mission field is just listen to God and his call. Be careful when you're listening to your family
and
your
friends.
extended
Yeah.
family and your pastor and whatever, because I mean, I'm not saying there aren't good people out there with good advice, but there's a lot of people that are a lot of parents that are discouraging their children from going into missions because it's not safe or you're not going to make a lot of money and you're not going to build up success. And there are pastors and church leaders that are saying, if you have young children, you shouldn't go to the mission field because that's going to be hard on them. Or if you have teenagers, you shouldn't rip them away. I mean, there's always going to be people
Literally.
that tell you why you shouldn't do it.
Right.
We had
Don't
two
listen to
families that were planning to move. We're talking about moving down and joining our ministry. One of them had teenagers in high school. One of them had young children, like
Baby
a
and
baby and toddler. That the one family was being told, "Oh, you do not want to move your kids to the mission field when they're in high school. You need to let them complete high school." And blah. Anyway, the other family was being told, "You should not be moving to the mission field if you have young children."
Wow.
And I'm going, I literally, that they wrote, both pastors wrote to me and said, "I'm not recommending them for this." And I just wrote back to both of them and I said, "So here's what I'm hearing from this person and here's what I'm hearing from you. So you're telling me there's a magical sweet spot where we're free to follow the call of God?"
Wow.
If your kids are between 8 and 12,
Yeah.
take them
That's
on the
it.
mission
That's
field.
the window.
Yeah, or after they graduated. And I mean, how do our kids learn to follow Jesus radically if we're not willing to follow Jesus radically? And sorry, this is not
This
what
is
you
great.
asked.
No,
No,
it is.
this
It
is
is because
great.
you're describing what I've been saying, that sure, ministry is work, but it's not a job. It's a calling.
Yeah.
It's your way of life. That when you leave your home, when you leave our place of ministry, I'm still like, I was talking about this with a friend, and he was very well intentioned. He said, "Miguel, you just need to turn it off sometimes. Go do something to have fun." I'm like, it's
You
like
need
saying,
to stop.
it's
You
like
need to
saying-
stop your heart from beating. You need to stop
Right.
your lungs
Exactly.
from
It's like saying,
breathing.
okay, why don't you just chop your arm off and try figure out how to bring it back together?
Yeah,
No, that's not how it is. It's when,
Yeah.
especially, and I think this is for us here at the table, is like when you have this pastoral heart that's thinking about the kids, whether or not you're with them or the people that we take care of, whether or not we're with them, it's just a part of you.
Yeah.
If when people think about ministry as a job, which sadly so many pastors and missionaries are thinking about it as a job, you're going to suffer a lot and make people suffer a lot.
Yeah.
This is not a place for you to practice, well, let me figure out how to care for people. No.
Yeah.
People are going to trust you and you're going to break their hearts.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that it's challenging for us too.
Yeah.
Sorry, maybe this doesn't relate. Maybe it does, but like for us, when we say no to ministry, it often means a child dies. But still, we can't say yes all the time.
Right.
Correct. Yeah.
So, and please understand my heart when I say this. This is not a brag, because this is all to the glory of Jesus. We moved to Guatemala. We had no idea what we were doing. We were overwhelmed. It was confusing, the whole deal. But God, in spite of that, has created this ministry, and we're known to be the best homes in Guatemala for children with disabilities. That we get calls from all over Guatemala saying, "Can you receive this child? Can you receive this child?" In a lot of times, I'm sent these files by the courts, by social workers, and I look at the file and I see the medical needs and I go, if we say no, this child will die
Mm-hmm.
because there's nobody else who can care for these child's needs.
Mm-hmm.
And yet, our finances are stretched to the max.
Mm-hmm.
We have no more space.
Mm-hmm.
We
A
have
lot of beds in those bedrooms.
we've
Yeah.
got beds crammed, and we've got 3-story bunk.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, we fit in as many kids as we can, and also with the awareness we don't want to become an institution.
Right.
sure, yeah.
Exactly.
Because if we're another institution, then I could just let the institutions that are doing it do it.
Mm-hmm.
And so, so that's the other thing. People will say to us, "You've just got to. You can't save the world."
Mm-hmm.
And so, stop trying to pretend you can. I have no illusions about saving the world,
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
but I have this child in front of me,
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
and I think we can save them.
Save one more.
We can save one more,
Yeah.
but and so. That's
Yeah.
also a part of not being able to turn it off.
Yeah.
I mean, no matter where you're at. I mean, I can be in the States speaking at a church and my phone dings and it's a WhatsApp message from a court saying, "Can you take this child?" You can't turn that off.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
those are the things that can keep me awake at night because we don't have any more space. I have to say no. Right now, I've got a child just yesterday received a message that they want us to take a child that's from another home. And I'm like, yeah, I want to so bad, but we don't have time. We don't have money. We don't have space. We don't have staff.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's a challenge.
For sure.
And I can't turn it off. It's who we are, and
Yeah.
it's who we have to be. And I told them, I responded right away, and I said, we don't have space, we don't have finances, but I can't say no right. I need to take 24 hours to pray to give God a chance to speak because I never want to say a no unless God is giving me the freedom to say that no. So I'm sorry, that was kind of a sidetrack.
No, that's
No,
it's
it's
great.
perfectly in line. I'm sure you guys have heard this so many times. It's hard when people that are not in it say, again, well-intentioned comments, even if they're wrong, they're well-intentioned. When people say, why are you reinventing the wheel? What are you, I mean, you could just join X, Y, and Z organization. You just do it with them. Here's information about, I mean, we've gotten already so many times this year. There's information about this pamphlet. Check out this ministry. They're doing it already. I'm like, that is not what God asked of me.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. I'm not trying to be super popular here. I know I'm gonna just rub some egos here, but it's not, again, just like you said, it's for the glory of God. I'm not saying I'm better. I'm saying this is what God asked of me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, and that's the challenge. We face it. Everybody in ministry, at least if they're truly ministers, face these issues.
Yeah.
And that's you have to learn to turn it off. I've learned a long time ago. Do not seek advice on social media
For sure.
No.
because everybody's
sure.
got an opinion. Like if I were to put out about this child, I would get a lot of people who'd say you should say yes to that child and just trust God. And I'm like, if you are so easy at trusting God, why aren't you here doing this?
Yeah.
I mean, I do trust God. I know God is good, but I also don't expect God. Hudson Taylor, one of my favorite quotes is, God's work done in God's way never lacks God's supply, which means we have the responsibility to ask, is this God's work?
Yeah.
And am I doing it his way?
Yeah.
And that's the question. If when I get a child, a request to receive a child, my question is not, is this a good thing to do? Of course, if we could receive a child, it's a good thing. The deeper question, God, is, do you want me to receive this child?
Yeah.
Because God is under no obligation to provide for my work instead of his.
Yeah.
So, yeah, that's the thing we struggle with and wrestle with a lot.
Yeah.
Is when to say yes, when to say no, to make sure it's God saying the yes and God saying the no.
Yeah. I think that's the difference also between a missionary and someone who's trying to be a hero and a savior. The hero and the savior, quote unquote, they want to say yes to everything and they will say yes to everything. The missionary is trying to figure out, okay, is this helping? Is this pushing the goal? Is this actually a blessing or is this a burden to people? And it's those, I mean, again, they sound like very black and white things, or they're not at all. And regardless of your answer, you feel like a bad guy.
Yeah.
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 And it's the constant struggle.
And I think that goes back into like what you were saying of like advice for missionaries. Like it's not just all honeymoon. Like it's a hard job. Like it's hard to say no when you're like everything in me wants to say yes, but like there's not peace in me to say yes to this. So I have to follow first the Lord and not just my flesh of wanting to fix everything for every person that I meet. And that can be so hard. And I feel like if you're not called into ministry, like you were saying, it's easy just to say yes to everything because it's all about me and what I want to do and how I want to serve and how it makes me look. But like when we're truly walking with the Lord and we're called into this thing, like there's just such a beauty that comes around us of like the Lord providing and the Lord continually leading. But we constantly have to give that back to the Lord and say like, yes, you are our leader. You are the one that's guiding us, because it's so easy to want to walk in our flesh in these things.
Yeah. I mean, and you all know that how many missionaries come to the mission field with a savior complex. And I had a good friend of mine, Dick Ruckers, who he said to me shortly after I moved here, Daryl, stop trying to save the world. You can't save the world. He goes, there's only one Savior, and they crucified him. And I have to remember that on a regular basis, because the Daryl part of me wants to save everybody. I want to say yes all the time. And that's not God's heart for me. God wants the church to rise up as a whole to do its part. And if we all rise up and do its part, it's not a problem. The problem is when God is calling the church to step out of the comfort zone and do the things that need to be done by the church, and the church says, no, it's too hard, or I have to relocate my family, or I have to, whatever it is, the reason for the excuse for saying the no. And that's why there's gaps in the world today. If the church rises up and all we do our part, what God asks us to do.
Absolutely.
That's awesome. So, since we're on the passionate side of the conversation, what is your hot take?
And this is a hot take, not just for missionaries, but I think it's the church as a whole. We have too many opinions, and we want everybody to know those opinions. We have opinions about people's lifestyles. We have opinions about government. In the mission field, this was a big screw up that I made in my early years, first year or two on the mission field, was I came here and I had so many opinions. I had opinions about Guatemalan culture, and Guatemalan roads, and Guatemalan police, and Guatemalan government, and all of those things. And who cares? Why do I think that anybody should care about my opinion when it comes to anything Guatemalan? There's only one real opinion that I have that really matters, and that's Jesus. And that's what the world needs. He's the Savior. He's the answer, not Daryl's opinion. And even when it comes to the things that I have opinions about in the world, those things are insignificant to the fact that the person in front of me needs Jesus. And often we have to lay aside our opinions lest we drive people away from the gospel. And that's what I just want everyone to know Jesus. If my neighbor is living an immoral lifestyle, my goal isn't to go over there and change their lifestyle. My goal is to love them in the name of Jesus and draw them into personal relationship with him, and he can sort out their lives. That's what he did for me. My life didn't transform because people were in my ear telling me, stop doing that and start doing this. My life changed because I encountered the living Christ and walking with him one step at a time. And so I just feel like that missionaries as a whole, they come in with strong opinions. And I understand that. Like I say, I messed up and did that in the early days as well. But also Christians in the U.S., Christians in Canada, Christians around the world. We have our opinions, and we want the world to know our opinions. And the world doesn't need our opinions. They need our Jesus.
Wow, that's a good one.
That's good.
I love that.
That's awesome.
That's awesome.
It's a great hot take.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah, I think it's needed.
And I had to learn that because if you would have talked to me 15 years ago, 12 years ago, I was the guy with all the opinions. And as I look at my life right now, I have less than ever that I'm for sure.
Yeah.
But what I know is really, really important. And that's to release all of those peripheral things. There's freedom in it because now I have, there's only a very small handful of things that I really need to be concerned about and focused on.
Yeah.
And there's freedom in that. And I have freedom to love
Yeah.
people from all walks, from all political persuasions, from everything.
Yeah.
I just get to love them
Yeah.
without me trying to find ways to stick my opinion into the relationship and conversation. Because everybody who knows me knows I love Jesus. And I'm very happy. I want to tell them my story about what Jesus has done for me. And that's enough.
I love that. I
That's
think
enough.
that's a beautiful challenge for each and every believer, that it's like, are our opinions pushing the gospel forward, or are we pushing the gospel forward? And it's like, man, like we should be those people that are just so excited to share the love of Jesus with everyone, that our opinions can stay on the back burner. Like we don't need to share those things. We just need to share the love of Jesus. And that's beautiful.
I want everybody in my life to know, no matter what their lifestyle, no matter where they come from, that I'm a safe place, that they can come to me when they need a friend, when they need a listening ear, when they need a hug.
Yeah.
And I don't care who they are. I don't care what they've done. I will hug them. I will love them. I will listen to them. I will go grab a drink with them. I will be their friend. I want everybody in my life to know that.
Yeah.
Because that's what Jesus did.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's what Jesus did. He walked up and said, hey, come with me. And it didn't matter that they were shunned by society.
Yeah.
It didn't matter if they were considered adulterers or outcasts or tax collectors or whatever. He said, come with me and be transformed as you walk with me. And that's what I want in my life. Anybody, I want to be a safe place for them to come. And without my opinion having to get in the way of that relationship, so that I can lead them to my Jesus.
Yeah.
I love that.
That's something that I personally have struggled with, that I have a very justice-minded, led heart. Every time I've shared my opinion, like, this is wrong. At the end, I talk to Ange and I go, okay, not one person came to Christ because I said that.
Yeah.
We're not closer to being right just because I said that. These people feel stupid now. I don't feel smarter.
Yeah.
So there's no need.
When you look at Jesus of Scripture, what we want to do is we want to look at Jesus and say, well, look, he got angry. He turned over tables. He spoke hard truths. He used words like brood of vipers and whitewashed tombs.
Yeah.
And so we use that as a license to say it to whoever we disagree with.
Yeah.
But that's not what Jesus did. Jesus never had a harsh word for the adulterous woman or the tax collector. He had it for the religious leaders who were pushing those people away from the kingdom.
Yeah.
And we have to be like Jesus. Even the words of the Apostle Paul, we look and say, well, he said he had hard things to say about sexual immorality or different lifestyles. Well, he said that to the church because they were allowing the lifestyle of the world to come into the church. He wasn't speaking that to the world. He himself said, who am I to judge the world? I'm talking about those inside the church.
Yeah.
And that we take that as, well, Paul said harsh words about lifestyles. Yeah, he said it to the church because they were living a worldly lifestyle when they should be driven by the Spirit of God.
Yeah.
And so the church has this freedom to speak harshness to the world instead of reserving it for what's going on in their midst. And that's where we become more like the Pharisees than we do
Right.
Jesus.
Also, we enjoy and we thrive on the license of being mean, but never about have you shared the gospel?
Yeah.
Well, my opinion is I don't care about your opinion. Have you shared the gospel?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That license, we're like,
Yeah.
well, that one, that's for the pastor.
Oh, and then we want to complain because we're being persecuted.
Exactly.
But in reality, we're not being persecuted for the gospel. We're just being not liked because we're jerks.
Yeah.
It's a good word.
That's exactly it. I hate it when I see on Facebook, persecution is real. Like, no, you don't know persecution. Persecution is getting burned alive because you're saying you will not renounce your God.
Or being thrown out of your home.
Exactly.
Right.
Yeah,
being
yeah,
imprisoned.
exactly. No, it's not. I mean, you've shared many stories about that from India and Asia. It's like,
Yeah.
that's persecution. Not being like, this person disagrees with me. Okay, just
Right.
just change your diaper.
Or the
It's gonna be
government
okay.
doesn't endorse my opinion.
Right.
Yeah.
That's
Exactly.
persecution. No, it's not.
No, it's not.
It's just, it's the victim mentality that sometimes makes it into the church.
Yeah,
Yeah, it's so true. It's so true. When all we should be focused on is do my neighbors know who Jesus is? No? Great. Let me go and share that with them.
Yeah.
Let me go and be Jesus.
And if we do actually face persecution, the biblical response is, wow, praise God. We were able to suffer for our Jesus.
Yeah.
That's what the first century church did. It wasn't,
Yep.
you can't do that whine. You know?
Right.
I
That's so
think
good.
it's people will think the opposite, but a lot of times our response, and not to say that we don't get angry, we don't get frustrated, we don't get livid about things, but a lot of times our response when people disagree with us, let's say a pastor from a local church or something, it's more like, okay. Like we're so used to like going against the flow. They're like, okay, like we don't care as much as probably someone from like let's say the local body of Christ would care.
Well, there's a lot of movements nowadays. The Word of God tells us to be quick to listen, slow to speak, slow to become angry, which means we should talk less, listen more, and be very hesitant before we exercise anger. But there's a lot of movements, even among Christendom, that encourages us to not listen, to jump to quick conclusions, to be angry right away, and to blast our opinion. And we can't do that. That's not Christ-like. That's not Spirit-like. It's I really want to understand your position, even if I disagree with you. I've heard a pastor say that if you ever say, I don't understand how anybody can think that, well, then that means you need to listen more, because it doesn't mean that if you listen more, you'll agree with them. But at least maybe you can understand why they come to that instead of vilifying them and treating them as an enemy that needs to be defeated.
Right. That's so true.
That is very true.
So, and that way, if you're not treating them as an enemy, you have an opportunity to love them, to brace them. Of course, even if they are, quote, enemies, we're supposed to love them anyway. So, but we have to be careful of that to make sure that we're seeing the world through the eyes of Jesus instead of the eyes of through religious culture.
Also, most of the things the world hates about the church are portraits of things that are nothing like Christ.
Yeah, it's true.
If the world knew who really Christ is, Christ will have come back already, I think.
If we're really like Jesus, we will draw a lot of people from the world and make a lot of religious folks angry.
It's true.
That is a very good word. That's very true.
Okay, so having said that, this might be a difficult question to answer, but let's say the Lord said, okay, this is enough. I'm going to delegate someone else to do what you do. You get your pick. Do whatever you want. What will you do if it was a ministry? Whatever you want, but it cannot be ministry, because regardless, you'll do ministry wherever you go.
Yeah, it's true.
Do you have any thoughts? We just don't consider that. I don't even allow myself to think about it.
I figure.
Literally, there was one night, and this was one of our nightmare nights.
I know. We could spend 2 weeks going on a cruise.
Yeah, we could go on a cruise.
Love
There you
that. Love that.
Then after that.
Yeah, there you go.
There was one night in which we had lost a little girl. That literally, it was our most traumatic of deaths. It was a Sunday morning. Actually, on Saturday, we had noticed that it was a little girl named Tanya in her home. She had some cold symptoms, and she had cerebral palsy. And so we always monitor that closely. But on Sunday morning, I listened to her with a stethoscope, and I went, you know what? I'm just going to call our doctor. I called our doctor, and he said, is it an emergency, or can I come over this afternoon? And I said, you can come over this afternoon. I said, it's not urgent. She's just got a cold. And so my daughter, Carissa, stayed home with her and one other child, and we went to church. And as we were driving back into town, my phone rang, and it was Carissa saying, Dad, I'm scared. Tanya's not doing well. So I got back in, and I checked her blood sats, and she was like 65%. And I'm like, we got to get her to the hospital. So we were loading up the truck. We got her in the truck, and we started driving, and we got literally maybe 100 meters up the road. And Carissa said, she's not breathing, Dad. And so I stopped, started CPR on the back seat of my truck. They called the bomberos. The bomberos came, put her in the back, and I realized the bombero didn't know how to do CPR. That literally he was going 1, 2, 3, 4. I'm not compressing. And I'm like, pushed him out of the way, and I'm like, I'll do it. And so I in the back, bouncing in the back of the ambulance, I had to lay down on the gurney next to her. I'm doing CPR. We lost her. She died. And I spent, I had to wait for Ministerio Público to come to the hospital and take my statement and collect the body. And I sat next to her body 8 or 9 hours that afternoon, just holding her hand. And then I left the hospital. And by the way, the next morning I had to go to the morgue to collect her. They did an autopsy because it was a sudden death. And they handed me her body in a garbage bag.
Wow.
And so that was the kind of trauma that we were dealing in the midst of that. And I don't know if I've ever been that traumatized in my life. I had PTSD following it for months. And I remember on the way home from the hospital that night, I was driving by myself and I was exhausted and I was broken. And I was talking to God and I said, God, that's it. I'm done. This was traumatic. My son had seen it and literally he freaked out and was like yanking his hair because of the trauma of seeing it. And our whole family was traumatized by that. And I said, I put my family through enough. I'm not going to do this anymore. I'll go back to the States and I'll become a pastor again and I'll support people who do this kind of work. And I took a deep breath and then God, in his loving but firm nature, said to me, okay, and what about Brian, one of the kids in our home, and Yenny, and Angelit, and he just started listing the kids in our home, and then he said, "And what about the kids in the rural village ministry? What's going to happen to them when you pack it in?" And I just said, "Lord, I don't know." And he said, "Daryl, it's okay to grieve. I want you to grieve. But let's just shut up about this whole going back to the States thing because you and I both know it's not going to happen." And I went, okay. And this whole conversation happened between my drive from Antigua back to here.
Wow.
And that literally, where else would I go? And there will come a day when we can't do this to the extent that we are doing it now as we get older. But when that day comes, we will transition our role. But we have no plans to ever leave this ministry. And if we were ever to do that, I have no idea what I would do. I mean, I don't know what I would do.
I love that. Like y'all are just all in. Like this is what the Lord has called you into, and this is what you've given your yes to. And you guys, as hard as it is, are content and are thankful that you're a part of what God is doing, and that's really evident and really cool to see.
This is the hardest thing we've ever done, but I wouldn't trade it. And I think that's the key when we talk about calling, is to understand. And there's no glamour in calling, as we talked about. That real ministry, real calling will cost you. And that's why it has to be a calling. If it's from our own idea, from our own energy, from our own desire to make a name for ourselves, we won't last. But God calls the church to do the things that only the church can do. He calls the church to go to places that only the church will go. And if we're not willing to do it, then who's going to do it? And we have to understand before we go that there's a cost. Maybe our lives. So, and that's where we're at. And we're 57 years old now. And
are you both the same age?
Well, she's 5.5 months older than me. So it's always fun when she has a birthday because I get to talk. It was really great when she has like a milestone birthday. So like when she turned 40 and I was still in my 30s. It's like we would fill out the attendance card at church in those days and I would write Wanda 40s, Daryl 30s, because they'd have the little box for ages.
That's awesome.
But I married an older woman. She snatched the cradle. So.
That's you too.
But it's not 5 months.
It's 5 years.
Exactly.
Wow.
I know, right? But you wouldn't notice looking
No,
at us.
you wouldn't.
Well, she keeps saying that statistically men die sooner, so we should die at the same time.
Exactly. I was like, I chose one that it's like we have the chance of going the same day, so it's fine, you know?
But it's still fun to be like, she's in her 30s, I'm still in my 20s.
It's true. It's so weird. It's so
next
weird.
year. Okay, sure. I'll be in
Next
my
year,
30s.
he'll finally hit the 30s. Praise.
I would have assumed that he was the older one.
It's always, I've had this face since I was 16. So
Yeah.
I've always, when I was in high school, I looked like a narc. Yeah.
And
You would
I've
have thought,
had
I was the snitch.
Yeah, you're a high school student, right?
I've had
No,
the
I
same
started-
face since 14.
I
it's
started growing
fine.
up here, like not like this, but like here, like when I was like 15.
Okay.
And I very quickly switched voices. So all my friends were still like, hi. I was like, hi.
But when
And-
we
Yeah.
were married, I looked like I was 14, I think, when I look back on it, 14 or 16.
So
We would both looked really young.
Yeah.
It's funny when you have a baby face. Like I remember being in my mid-20s and I was coming back from Costa Rica. I just led a group there and I'm sitting in the exit row and the lady's like, sweetie, how old are you? And I was like, 25. I was like, wait a minute, why? How old do you need to be to sit here? And she was like, 14. And I was like, oh my gosh, you just questioned if I was even 14 years old. I was like, what is happening to me? So that has been my
Yeah.
life for
if you see the
forever.
pictures, it makes total sense.
It
Well, my
does.
one daughter, Krishana, looks
Yeah.
way younger than she really
does.
is.
She does,
Yeah.
And so she's gotten quite offended at times. When she was like 20, in her 20s, people were questioning whether or not she was 15 or 16. And she's
Yeah.
like,
Yeah.
Yeah, the amount of high school students that hit on me when I first moved here, and I was like, I'm far too old for you. Just shut it down, shut it down. Like, we cannot do this.
Yeah.
It was pretty great.
well, Wanda was teaching 5th grade, her first year of teaching, and she was she got pregnant right at the beginning of the school year, and like some people talked to some other teachers in the school and said, "One of the 5th graders is pregnant." 'Cause, no, that's the teacher.
That is wild. Wow.
That's funny.
You're like, wow, you questioned if I was a 5th grader. Thank you.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
she
funny.
did. That was pretty funny.
No, I got my first sir when I was like 16.
That's hilarious.
Yeah, that's the first time someone went to me and was like,
I still don't get
"Perdón,
that.
señor." Yeah. No, I
That's
did.
hilarious.
Yeah, that was I remember exactly where I was. I was at the park. I was with some friends, and some girl that was like 15 said, "Disculpe, señor." I was like, "Señor,"
That's
and
hilarious.
I cried. No, I didn't cry, but I was actually a little offended.
My favorite thing is always having people guess how old we are because they always guess that he's multiple years older than I am. And it just always makes me laugh
Yeah.
every single time. It's
Yeah,
great.
you look like 24, 25.
It's usually what I get. Yeah, I'm thankful. I'm so thankful for it. I'm like, I am in my 30s now and I can still pass as like a 24-year-old. I'm great. Life is
That's
good.
a good thing. Yeah.
It really is. I'm thankful.
Well, I don't think
yeah.
anybody's going to guess me as looking younger than I really am anymore. So
I mean, you
the
look
white
great.
hair
You're very
changes
healthy.
it. It's true.
Yeah.
I'm in a lot better shape than I was a few years ago.
Yeah,
That's awesome.
I met you as you are now. So when I've seen pictures like throwbacks from Brittany, especially Brittany, because she's the one that posts the most,
Oh, yeah.
like, is this your uncle? Like, that was
Right?
one of my first reactions. Oh, this is Daryl.
Yeah.
Like, you look way younger now than you did back then. Yeah, you look great.
It's amazing.
She does too, though. Now that she's gone gray after chemo,
Yeah.
that she looks way better than she did when she had the long, dark hair.
I love it.
I do think you also look more fresh with
Yeah, I agree.
short hair than with long
yeah,
hair.
you definitely rock the pretty short hair. I like it.
Oh, can I say that on the podcast?
Yes, you can.
Totally. Totally.
Yes, you could.
Smoking.
Yeah. Yes, you could.
I love
Yeah.
that so much.
Well, thank you guys for being here with us. Daryl and Wanda are, and I don't just say this because I think compliments that are not true are extremely disrespectful. Some of the most passionate people you'll ever meet in ministry, and just in life.
Yeah.
And also some of the most humble people.
Agreed.
This is why we invited you guys, and I'm so glad we could make it work.
Yeah.
But yeah, thank you guys for being here, and we're gonna leave all their links below so you can find out about who they are. You can connect with them. You can donate. It's way better if you donate monthly, even if it's a small amount rather than one time. So I encourage you to do it monthly. But if you only do it one time, it's really worth your investment in the
Yeah.
kingdom, especially in this pocket of the kingdom.
Yep.
So thank you guys for listening, and we'll see you next time.
Bye.
Bye.